Good evening, everybody. Hello, everybody.
Sorry, I bashed my elbow then.
You are ridiculous. You know that, don't you, Vivian?
I know. I know.
Lovable, charming, and everything else, but completely fucking ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. Always. Let's put Abby down there. She will be with us soon.
Archie has now decided to go to sleep, and he's snoring through one end and farting through the other.
Good for Archie. I'm glad he's on the mend.
Yeah, to everybody out there in the viewership land, is the word viewership or whatever, viewer land, who heard that Archie was very ill yesterday. Here he is. I don't know, can you see him?
Yeah.
He's now asleep. He's much better than he was. He's asleep, cuddled up to me.
Nettie's in the house. Hi, Nettie.
Hi, Nettie. Yoo-hoo.
People in the chat, let us know you're there by saying hello. And if you can help us by sharing this out, I would be very, very grateful. Yeah, as you can see, I'm sitting underneath an anteater today because I was looking at anteaters and I wanted to show John, so I ended up with this one stuck over my head. But that's what I do.
Jonathan. I came into the studio and I was stuck backstage because she wouldn't let me in because she was too busy looking at anteaters. Now you see what I have to put up with.
Hi, Sarah. Sarah Louise Davis is in the house. Hello, Sarah.
Sarah! Woo!
She is a brilliant woman. Is our Sarah, and I haven't seen Sarah for a while. So I hope you're well anyway, Sarah. Can we send some love and healing vibes to Nettie? Because she's still got a runny nose.
Oh, poor Nettie.
I know.
Archie's now woken up to send healing vibes to Nettie, and now he's just gone back to sleep again. So.
Right, so we've got our guest waiting. I think she's ready.
Is she back?
Shall we get her on?
Has she finished making her cup of tea?
I think so. Should we find out?
Well, yes.
Come on then. Let's do it.
Hello! And I've got the mug especially for you, Jonathan. The voice has made me do it.
Oh, dear. Robert says, hello, kids.
Hello, everybody.
Hi,
it's good to be back.
Hi, Grandad.
I love.
Nettie says she's got the shits as well.
Oh, bless you.
Oh, my poor Nettie. Yes, Archie had that. At least you don't do it on the carpet.
Well, I don't know. She might not make it on time. You never know. You don't know the situation.
When nature
that was Archie's excuse as well.
He's sticking to it. Oh, I hope you feel better soon, my darling. It's not nice when you have to keep running.
No.
I wonder if that's why they call it the run. You have to run.
Yeah, that's a good thought.
Oh, God. Again, you see what I have to put up with, boys and girls.
Just one of those random thoughts.
I'm a grandfather with an old grey beard. I shouldn't have to put up with this stuff.
I always wondered why they say they call it pebble dashing the toilet, because there's no pebbles involved.
That's taking the tone and lowering it.
There's no pebbles involved. Maybe a bit of sweet corn, but no pebbles.
Oh, God almighty, shut up, Vivian. You're awful. You are absolutely awful. You are embarrassing our guest.
No, never.
A different kind.
Anyway, Nico says, my friend changed his name to Alvin A. Aardvark just so he could be the first person in the phone book. Of course, he was screwed when the alphabet killer started his killing spree.
Oh, bloody hell, Nico.
Oh,
dear me.
But anyway, we've got a wonderful guest on, which is also a friend of ours, which is Abi Dent, if you don't know already. And Abi she's a very busy lady. She's a paranormal investigator. She runs her own podcast, and you're very active within the paranormal field. So, Abi, welcome to the show.
Hello, it's good to be back on. It's nice to see you both. And
It's
I'm
lovely
glad
to have you here. It's nice to have somebody to deflect the idiocies that come from Vivian non-stop.
And you chose me to be a guest?
Abby's a girl after my heart, you know.
So, yes, I mean, you had the Strange Days Festival, didn't you, over the weekend, which I wish I could have gone to. I was gutted I couldn't make it to that one. How did you get on?
It was wonderful, and I'm feeling quite proud of myself. It's the first time I've been to a festival for, 30 years plus. And I managed to negotiate the train in both directions, even in a wheelchair, which I didn't know if I was going to be able to manage. And I'm
well
feeling
done.
proud of myself.
Well done.
I did.
Yeah.
And I saw Henge, who are an absolutely fantastic band, and I proved that I can dance, or at least my stupid old hippie dances, in my wheelchair. And I danced
Brilliant.
for an hour and a half or however long they were on stage. And all these beautiful young women came up to see if I was all right. And it was all very
I want to see footage of you dancing. I want to see those moves.
Hey, Abby, we should take him out clubbing.
Definitely. I'm seeing pink sequin shirt, you know.
When was the last time you went clubbing, Jonathan?
Oh, Christ. I went to a rave in 1990, if that counts.
Abby, we're going to have to sort something out for him. We're going to have to go.
In fact, I didn't. I went to a really big rave in Milton Keynes in 1993, and I saw African Head Charge, and I was completely off my tits on acid. So.
Well, I was 11 at the time, so I think it's about time we got you out again.
You were 11? Oh, dear God. You make me feel so old.
Sorry.
Well, you are.
Yes. I'm a pensioner. I'm your rock and roll pensioner.
Exactly.
As of the week before last, I am now eligible for the elderly state pension, which means for the first time in my life, I'm not going to have the government fraud squad checking up on my benefits every 6 weeks.
God. Yeah, they are getting a bit ridiculous now with their, you know, what's it they're saying now? If you spend over like 200, 300 quid or you take it out your bank, they check it.
Yeah.
No.
We're living in a police
bank accounts alone.
Annette wants to come clubbing with us.
Oh,
she said
yeah.
She's an old rover. This is getting bit. Nettie, we're going to do it. Nettie, come sailing and we'll go.
We use glow sticks for health and safety, you see. So we like, you know, in the dark, so it points out all the dangers. So we can, you know, I've got plenty of them. So
you've got the glow sticks. I'm sure I can get some ecstasy from somewhere.
Oh God, I'll pass on that one.
Yeah, no, I'm too old for all that. For me, it's just two drinks. That's it. I'm done.
First festival I've ever been to when I wasn't on drugs, but I managed to make a load of drug jokes during my talk, which was quite good.
You spoke. You spoke at the festival. You did a talk.
I spoke. Yeah. Did you say I smoked?
I thought you said that as well. But were you spontaneously combusting whilst talking?
I gave a lecture and basically went up on stage and fucked around for an hour. I did basically what I do on here.
Did you? What did you talk about?
Officially, it was the Cornish Owl Man, but I talked about the Cornish Owl Man, but I interspersed this with a load of off-colour jokes and said fuck a lot, mainly because the first time I said it was by accident, and there was a little girl, I felt awful, little girl about 8 in the front row, and she started to giggle every time I swore. So I swore and made funny faces after to keep her happy all the way through the show.
Nico says you're smoking hot, John.
Thank you, Nico, my dear boy. You are very kind to an old man.
Dave Gillam and Mike Freebury, didn't they? They had encounters with the Owlman when they were investigating the Dartmoor animal mutilations.
Did they?
Yeah, by Pork Hill. I think they've got a photograph of it in his book, Killers on the Moors. But they had encounters with the Cornish Owlman.
Really? I'm gonna have to. I haven't seen Dave in years.
No, I haven't spoken to him in a while. Actually, I must catch up with him again. I
haven't seen him since you were still a wee slip of a thing. I mean,
what, last week then?
No, it was the late night. I don't think I've seen Dave Gillam since about 1997. So
wow. So yeah, I've been to a few of the conferences, the Cornwall UFO conferences, because he held them at Falmouth University. Again, couldn't get to the ones I wanted to do this year because of bloody tooth abscess. But I interviewed him and Mike. Oh, it's got to be over 10 years ago now. When the book came out, Killers on the Moors, and we went and did a night watch as well up on Dartmoor, up above Tavistock near Pork Hill. Didn't really get much that night, but we did find some unusual arrangements of animal skulls and stuff like that. And on preparing for the show, I came across an animal. It hadn't been mutilated in the sense of what they were getting, with the laser, the eyes, the skin being removed, and the cookie cutter, as they described it at the bottom end, shall we say. Yeah, apparently it's to sample radiation, because apparently that's where you store your radiation levels. And I was like, okay. Not a thought you want to dwell on. But yeah,
yes, Annette. Don't dwell on that.
Does that mean that your bottom glows in the dark?
It depends how much curry you've had, I guess.
I love this.
Toilet in the fridge. Toilet roll in the fridge.
That's where the song "Burn, Burn, Burn, the Ring of Fire" comes from.
Yeah.
Oh dear Lord.
But yeah, what I came across was more ritualistic, because there were runes carved onto the stones around this fire pit where this, sheep skull was literally in the fire pit, and that it was well away from the remains of the sheep, because he thought it was either going to be ritualistic or the soldiers, obviously, because we've got a lot of military bases and exercising at Dartmoor. A lot of the land is military. I know they've given a lot back, but a lot is restricted. So they thought it could be soldiers on manoeuvres there, killing a sheep and eating it as part of their survival training. But no, apparently mine was a ritualistic killing. But I think it was from up until the 70s, up until, I think it still goes on very, very rarely, but up until the 90s, the late 2000s, they were still getting these animal mutilations on the moors, caused by what? I don't know, whether it's a UFO thing, whether it's a military secret testing thing. I just don't know, because, as I said, we didn't experience anything on the night that we went up and investigated. But very, very interesting interview, very, very interesting book as well. And the fact that they had the activity follow them home as well. They were finding mutilated rodents and things like that outside their home. So, yeah, it's a bit disconcerting that it can follow you.
Did you get the photographs of your ritualistic sheep skull?
I did, yes. It is, I think it's still on my cloud somewhere. We're talking over 10 years ago. I'll have a look for you.
Please.
Yeah, I will.
Because this stuff fascinates the hell out of me.
It was up near Foggington Quarry. I'll try and say that without, swearing. Foggington Quarry. Yeah.
Oh,
Near the Merivale Stones, in that area.
Good Lord.
Yeah. I was just walking up the moors with a friend. I was like, ooh, hello. As you find when you're preparing these shows, you whether it's synchronicity, coincidence, or you're just noticing it more, when you're researching a certain subject, you seem to come across stuff in everyday life from that subject. So
yeah.
Tell me about it. It's just the way the universe works.
It's got a quirky sense of humour.
Yeah, I was looking into spirals going back to ancient civilization and the decorative spirals that we're doing. And then I ended up in a burial cairn and saw the spirals on the ceiling. Thought, what?
Oh, wow.
Like, it was just, yeah, it is what you say. Like, you start researching something, you'll start seeing it.
You'll start seeing it, yeah.
You see it everywhere.
Yeah. So that is something to think about when we're researching some of these darker subjects sometimes, because you don't want to be running into that, really.
Ever since I was in Mexico back when you were about 15, and I was in the middle of a little village in the middle of the Puebla desert, which had been attacked by vampires.
Mm.
And ever since then, I was so freaked out by that, I've always had that around my neck.
Oh, wow.
I've had a rock around my neck ever since. It's the only, whether or not it actually does keep the evil spirits away, but it damn well makes me feel better anyway.
I think it's what you put belief into. It's what you put energy into. That's why all these different religions and spiritual practices, it all has the same effect. It's what, you think holds power, so it holds power. So what happened out there? Come on, tell me more. You can't just say...
You see, I've got my wedding ring because my wife died 5 and a bit years ago, but I've got my wedding ring on the cross around my neck.
Cross.
So she's protecting you.
Yeah, because I don't, because I've been involved with other ladies since my wife died, and it just seemed stupid when I was dating somebody else to wear a wedding ring.
Mm.
But to have it around my neck, and it makes sense, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, keeps her with you.
Yes.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah.
You're in for a treat when you get over the other side. She'll be there waiting for you to give you an ear bashing.
Get what for the women?
Oh God, yes, but then probably will all the others as well. I'm gonna have I'll have them all gang up on me.
We got the paranormal's answer to Hugh Hefner here.
Oh yes.
So what happened with the vampires? Spill.
Okay, I was in a village in Mexico called Tlaxcalan, in the middle of the Mexican Puebla desert. And this is a long and fairly sordid story. But back in 1996, that was just about nearly 2 years before I was there, the village had woken up to find that a load of their cattle, of their sheep and their goats and their cattle, had all been attacked by something and drained of blood.
Blimey.
And you know that there was one sheep that was still alive. You know that famous piece of footage that they used round about the time of the mad cow disease outbreak, of that poor fucking Frisian heifer being pushed up the tailgate of a knacker's yard lorry. Well, there's a piece of footage which you can still find it online. I've got it somewhere, of this goat staggering about. It couldn't stand up properly. And a vet who I knew, she put on a white cotton glove, clenched her fist. There was a hole in the side of the goat's rib cage, and she put her fist inside the hole. Brought it out, and there was no blood on it. The creature had been completely drained of blood. It was
Wow.
still alive. It was still responding to light stimuli.
Yeah.
It was still responding to sound. Its heart wasn't beating, but then again, the heart's only a pump, and if there's nothing to pump, it won't beat.
Yeah.
Mm.
And you said, how is it still alive? God only knows. It's probably the weirdest thing I've ever been involved with. Anyway, 2 years later, I was there in this village talking to the witnesses. And this was in February, and even in February in the Mexican desert, right below Popocatépetl, it's quite hot. But all the windows were nailed shut, and the nail that it was shut with went through a clove of garlic.
Really?
And on each of the walls, there was a big 9-foot-high cross painted.
My word.
My Spanish is shit. I can just about buy cigarettes or buy a beer or shut up the piano player. Like, that's another story. But
You got your senoritas down.
yes, yes, but I'm not telling you about it. This is a family show. But
Excuse me.
my Spanish is fairly crap. But it turned out that the headman of the village, Don Pedro, his English was about as good as my Spanish. But the two of us both knew schoolboy Latin. And so we were talking to each other and really in a mixture of bad Spanish, bad English, and crap Latin, waving our arms around. But we managed to make ourselves understood. And I was saying, Senor, why do we have this big cross on the wall?
Yeah.
For proteccione de vampiros, senor. And fuck, anybody with even the mildest imagination can realize what por proteccione de vampiros means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought, shit, I'm in the middle of a village, thousands of miles from home, where probably nobody, apart from me and the camera crew, speak English. And the whole village thinks that they are in nightly danger of being attacked by vampires.
My word.
This isn't a game anymore. This is fucking serious.
I mean, were
And
any humans
then
attacked,
onwards,
or was
I've
it just
worn across.
animals it stuck to?
Apparently, I couldn't get the details about this one, but it was mostly animals. But there was at least one human one.
Yeah,
But
because
they
it
wouldn't tell
feeds
me.
kind of into the chupacabra, doesn't it? The goat sucker.
Well, that was what I was there for. Because the fact is that chupacabra itself is a Puerto Rican thing.
Yeah.
Hush, how are you, baby? And I'd been in Puerto Rico with Channel 4 making a documentary about chupacabra. And for some reason, they wanted to go to Mexico, where nobody at the time called it a chupacabra. There's a long history of vampirism in Mexico, both animal and human. And I didn't know about this. When I went there, I thought it was that the chupacabra was something that spread all across Latino.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. The name chupacabra hadn't been used in Mexico by the time I went there.
Oh wow!
It is now. The whole chupacabra now is a catch-all term for anything weird that happens anywhere across Spanish-speaking world.
Mangy dogs, yeah. Chupacabra.
Don't ask me about that. It's a long story, and it's not as simple as just mangy dogs. I've been studying those for the last 20-odd years, 22 years, I think, the blue dogs. But that's something completely different. But ever since that day in that village in Mexico, I've worn a cross around my neck. And
I can see why, and I think I'd do the same, to be honest with you. You're stuck in that situation, say you're isolated, you're separated by language as well, and you've got this blood-sucking thing coming around, attacking the local livestock, which is probably what these people depend on for one, food, milk, and currency as well, your trade and all the rest of it. And it's decimating what they're using to survive. So yeah, they're going to be scared. They're going to be putting crosses and garlic up and sharpening the steaks. And I'm not talking beef steaks here. I'm talking Buffy the Vampire Slayer type on the go. So you would be though, and then to be in that atmosphere as well, because you do get swept up in people's energy, and you do get swept up in what is going on around you. So, while you're trying to figure out what this thing is that's obviously attacking these villages and these people, it's going to be a very, very disturbing and very, very scary experience, and something that will stick with you, because it's not as if it's something you're reading on the internet nowadays, some far-flung thing. You are actually there on the ground experiencing what the locals were going through, the fear, and the very real problems it was causing. I mean, did you have any experiences or see, or apart from that poor goat that was zombie goat, bless him, how he was still alive, I do not know, poor thing.
No, I didn't see any. Even the zombie goat I only saw on video, because the vet who'd examined him, she sat us down and gave us a lecture about what had been happening there.
Yeah.
So they never found out what was doing it?
Nobody ever found out, as far as I'm aware. But the one good thing was they did have some incredibly rough as hell Spanish Mexican brandy for £3.50 the equivalent of £3 a litre, which was rather nice.
I'm glad the brandy was good.
You could always throw it on the vampire and set it on fire, and that's sorted.
That's Molotov cocktail or tequila cocktail, when in Rome.
I wouldn't waste good tequila on trying to burn a vampire. I'd just sit the vampire down and offer it a margarita.
Well, yeah. Just make sure it's not garlic salt you're putting around the room.
You are a strange girl.
Bird lips. He's had his little cocktail.
And I've just seen dear sweet Dave Scott is in the house. Hi, Dave.
I did put him up, but you just ignored him.
I didn't. I was in the middle of. I never interrupt a lady when she's talking to me. And Dave, thank you for your good wishes about Archie.
Oh, bless him. He's fast asleep.
Yeah. Leave him be, Dad.
Yeah, Jack's out. He's enjoying spooky season, so he's out and about at the minute. I will endeavour to get him in later on. I'll bribe him with catnip treats or something.
I love it that you call your cat Jack and I've got John. And there's Archie. All human names. It's brilliant.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, my other cat, bless him, rest him, was Momo. So, this one's a bit more traditional. But saying that, you still hear his girlfriend sometimes.
Have you got any plans for Halloween? Are you doing anything special?
I haven't thought that far ahead yet, actually. I know we're investigating with HG at the beginning of October. But for Halloween itself, I haven't thought that far ahead. I've just been sort of like trying to get the podcast sorted and that. I want to launch the podcast on Spotify and that for Halloween. So I want to get everything edited and then launch it and get it on Spotify and all the things I've got to learn, because I've been in radio for the past decade, so it's all new to me. So it's just I need a young person. I've kind of got to that age now where I need a young person to teach me the tech.
No, you can do it.
You are a young person.
Yes.
Younger.
As far as we're concerned.
You're just a sweet young girl.
Mm.
You see, it's working. That's the hypnotism. That's the mesmerism. That is.
No, I'm just a senile old git. So.
No.
Oh, Do you want to introduce someone to us that you named while we were talking backstage? Your latest addition to your spooky.
Oh, yes. You had me thinking then. I was like, hang
Yeah,
on a
I'm
minute.
thinking, what on earth is she talking about? I
Okay,
get
yeah.
used to
As it's
being
coming up to spooky season, I've been like, shopping in the most ritziest places of Home Bargains, of course. And yes, I fell in love with this little lady. So I need a name for her.
That is amazing.
She's
I do
gorgeous.
like that. She is, isn't she?
Was
I
she,
do like that.
Floral.
was she expensive?
It was like $4.99.
Is that all?
Very expensive, very expensive. Yes, I have very expensive taste. So, what name did you come up with, Viv?
Mildred.
Mildred.
Not Mildred, but
Mildred.
Mildred.
I like it. But speaking of skulls, did you see on the news there has been a massive trade in human remains recently?
I know someone who sells them.
Oh.
I know someone who is one of few that are licensed to sell human remains in the UK.
Oh, wow.
And
Richard tried to buy the foot of a dead French priest, like from the 19th century. This thing this weekend, he lost out to a weird conceptual artist from Australia, but he was bidding on the foot of a 19th century French priest.
Wow.
See, I know someone that sells human body parts that come from Africa and Europe, and some English ones. Some are old, some are, I don't know how old. All medical grade. It's not just skulls and bones, but he also sells skin, taxidermy, mummified human remains, and all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff.
I know there's a market for it, especially with the occult world as well, with the ritualistic world. But they're on about saying how it's not regulated because technically no one owns human remains, so it's a legal grey area.
It has to be. I think. Doesn't it have to be in the UK to be able to sell them? And they have to be dead for a certain amount of time or something. And
yeah. What do we call it? Donated to science. So things like that. But there's been, they reckon there's going to be like a massive upscale in body snatching again. So in grave robbing and body snatching to actually black market fulfill this need for human remains. And they're trying to pass some sort of legislation because it's illegal to dig up a grave because it's down as desecration, but it's not illegal to actually take the remains out. So,
I know someone years ago that bought. They bought an old church. They bought an old church for renovation, so it came with the graveyard.
Yeah.
They bought this church to renovate into flats. But the ground, he was told by the council, it was deconsecrated. When the diggers went in, they were hitting the graves that were not removed. So he had to have them
100 years, because that's what Shepton Mallet were doing, weren't they? They were waiting 100 years for them to pull up the graves in the courtyard, and for them to resell the property, which is not going through now. So it is still a haunted location for anyone who wants to go and investigate at Shepton Mallet Prison. Yay!
Well, I think it would probably still be a haunted location, even if they took the graves out.
Yeah.
I think they were on about turning it into flats or something, and that's all fallen through.
Yeah, but I'd bug it if I'd want to live in a flat that's an old graveyard.
I know. It's like when they've turned all the old asylums into luxury apartments. Are you mainlining holy water instead of like your local water board in there? So it's like, because people weren't treated nice, were they? Well, they weren't treated respectfully.
No.
In these institutions. And it's just like, could you imagine the energy of it? Like, it's just a luxury apartment. This is where they used to do the electric shock therapy and ice baths, but it's okay. Not bad karma here at all.
I used to work at Star Cross before they
Did
knocked.
you?
Yeah, I was a nurse.
I can imagine you saw some sights there.
Well, yes, it was in the last days of it being an old
Yeah.
Victorian asylum. I worked there about 40 years ago. No, longer. 45 years ago.
But even then, the treatment of some patients was quite bad.
It was terrible.
Electric shock treatment, I think, was only stopped recently. That was a therapy that they were still using into the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
I saw someone, I sat in on a session of electric shock treatment on the psychiatric wing of Barnstable Hospital in 1981-ish.
81? Bloody hell.
Yeah. Again, that is now literally before my time.
Dear me.
But yeah, I mean, I worked in
for our guests now. You realise that?
What's that?
You were cradle snatching for our guests.
I'm in my 40s. I forgot what I was going to say now. Yeah, I mean, I used to work in hospitals and care homes and stuff like that, and I used to experience stuff on a regular basis. So was it the same working in an institution like that, or was it a lot worse with the activity?
I saw and heard. I was my last job before they kicked me out was I was the acting senior nurse on nights at St Mary's Hospital in Axminster. I was in charge on the night shift, and I heard and I saw orbs of light where there shouldn't have been anything, and I heard voices and footsteps quite a lot. But my first wife used to be on night duty at Red Hills Hospital in Exeter, and there was a closed ward that had closed down above her, and that apparently had been the maternity ward once, and every night she could hear babies crying and screaming and footsteps and.
But then I have an argument with this. This is from a skeptic's point of view.
Yeah,
I'm not a skeptic, but
I was going to say.
One of my old
you're about as skeptic as I am. You believe
one of my old team members, his mum went into a care home, and they had paranormal activity. Shadows were seen, footsteps. They heard somebody going into the rooms and talking to the elderly. So he'd got us in to do an investigation while it was still a working care home.
Bloody hell.
Once all the residents were put to bed, we were allowed in, and we were only allowed to go into the rooms quietly that were empty.
Yeah.
So we couldn't make lots of noise because the doors are kept open and all this sort of thing. I mean, one elderly lady, bless her, she woke up and wanted to join us to see what we were doing. So we let her. But what I did notice that all the hoists and lifts and the equipment that they had running had high EMFs throughout the care home. So high EMF would mean to me that you're more likely to project or hallucinate or maybe see something. I mean, they had the state-of-the-art equipment in there. I mean, those people that worked in the care home were quite lucky, that they're not lifting the patients and the elderly people and stuff. But even the stairs, the chair, they had like a chair thing that went down the stairs, so they didn't even have to worry about coming down the stairs. That sort of thing, high EMF. So I wonder if it's the same in the hospitals. I've never been in a working hospital and got to investigate it, but I've been in an abandoned one.
EMF meter around a hospital. Maybe I should have done that when I was
Yeah. Next time you go and have an appointment, take your EMS with you.
Your equipment, making sure. But no,
I'm just thinking that I have to go to the hospital.
So, sorry, John.
I go to the hospital once a week now because of my leg. And I wonder if it'd be worth taking an EMF. I've got an EMF meter. I'll take it
with you.
Yeah.
See.
I will. I'll take it. I'm going on Friday.
There you go. We shall look forward to your report next week.
Yes.
I worked in an EMI. It's not there anymore. It's closed down in Torquay. And we used to get the shadow figures in there, but only when someone was passing. So the manager used to call them soul collectors because she was quite spiritual herself. And I've done a few night shifts where someone's in transition, so they're crossing over. So it's very, very respectful. We make sure we're looking after them all night, or someone's with them. But the stuff that used to go on there, and what the lift had a mind of its own. It just used to go up and down, up and down, up and down, and get stuck. It was a brand new lift that they had put in, and because they did have a stair lift, an old stand a stair lift up this grand staircase, because it was an old manor house or a Victorian villa, as they call them in Torquay. And we used to get the shadow beings there. We used to I'm not going to say any names, but there was a woman up on the 3rd floor, and we were down in the basement area in the kitchen, and it had got to been about 1 o'clock in the morning. And I was meant to be the sleeper, but I'd stayed awake because obviously we had someone who was near to crossing, so it's all hands on deck. While one person's doing all the chores, the other person is staying with that person to make sure that they're not alone.
Yeah.
And we come and had a bit of a break, and we'd had something to eat, and we both heard this particular residence. She had a very distinctive cry, sort of thing, like a ooh, sort of, as I say, it's an EMI home, so it's like dementia, Alzheimer's, that sort of thing. And you get to know the residents in there, and and we both literally put down our forks, looked around, went flying upstairs, going, "Oh, that's such and such." Obviously, no names. You're not allowed to use the lift at night because it was that temperamental. So we went up 3 flights of stairs to go up there to make sure, because we'd left her for a second to have something to eat and have a bit of a break. And she was absolutely fine. So we came all the way back down the stairs again, and then popped into another room with another lady who again used to scream like that or moan like that, fast asleep. So, okay, sit down, having a dinner again, hear it again. So we're like, all right, okay. As I said, straight back upstairs, both of us, 3rd floor. As I opened the door, there was this shadow figure just leaning over her, and then just kind of saw her standing there and just drew back as if to say, it's not her time yet, it's your time with her. So you used to get stuff like that happen. And also as well, when someone had passed, and obviously the room shut down, it's locked out of respect. They leave it about a week before it's redecorated and reallocated, but the call bells used to go off in those rooms.
That would annoy me.
Go out and unlock it, and turn the call bell off and all the rest, because you weren't obviously allowed to unplug them from the system because it had set off an alarm. So, but yeah, the call bells always used to go off in the rooms where someone had passed, and it was just very, very strange. And it's always something that you're very respectful of, obviously, because people have family. This is someone's life. This is this is where they've come, and this is where they're passing over peacefully. But the activity used to just ramp up in those times when someone was close. And bless her heart, she did go the next morning, but she waited for the manager to get in, because they'd known each other 20, 30 years, and she'd got her into that at home so she could look after her. It was a family friend of hers, sort of thing. And she waited, bless her, she waited until she got in before she passed. So yeah, it's the strangest thing.
I think this country's a bit strange in the fact that we put our elderly and mentally ill and all that into these kind of homes. In places like India, and Jonathan, I don't know about Singapore and Hong Kong and where you was, but if somebody was ill or elderly, the family would look after them.
Yeah.
There was no such thing as an old people's home or a hospice or anything like that. It would be the family's tradition to. So in places like that, there wouldn't be so much activity. I suppose it's all centred in these homes where people are passing, and sometimes they're not peaceful. Sometimes they're violent passings.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to talk about those. But sometimes they go through a lot in the passing itself, and maybe that is what's blasting stuff into the very walls of the.
It could do, and that's how it's reenacting or getting triggered every time someone is close to that. That's that thing. But I mean, Rose used to call them the soul collectors. The manager, she used to call them the soul collectors. And if someone did pass, we used to send the undertakers away if they turned up straight away. No, we used to send them away. Obviously, do what you've got to do out of respect. Lay out, wash, open the window, and we just used to just let them rest for a couple of hours, just let the soul collect.
Yeah.
I'm glad you opened the window.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Open the window and let the soul collect, instead of just moving them straight away to a funeral home. So
that's what I did when both my father died and when my wife died. They both died holding my hand.
Oh, bless.
And first thing I did was to go and open the window. Yeah. And when my dad died, it was in a hospital, and the nurse on duty came and said, "Are you an ex-nurse?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "Why'd you know?" She said, "Because you went and opened the window."
Yeah.
And when Karina died, my two stepdaughters didn't. They said, "Why have you gone and opened the window?" So I explained. It's just something you do.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Whether you believe in the soul or the spirit after death, if anything, it's just a mark of respect.
Of course.
So,
yeah.
The mark of respect.
Yeah. Was it we used to put the shoes of the deceased on the doorstep? That was a tradition that they have.
That's lovely. So they can walk home.
Yeah. So that was another one that they used to do in India, is put the shoes of the deceased on the doorstep. And you couldn't clear anything of the deceased persons for a year.
Yeah.
For a whole year. Like that. Just leave it there. Leave everything where it is.
But you find that as well in different cultures as well, not here in America and all the rest of it, because it's been industrialized, but people taking care of their deceased as well. Like you say, in nursing homes and stuff like that, people are putting them in residential nursing homes, where in other cultures in other countries, they look after them themselves. Again, with when people do actually pass, they don't go to a funeral home. The family looks after them. The family take care of them.
Yeah. Their funerals are pretty quick though, aren't they? They tend to sort of, if not the next days, the next couple of days, or they've prayed upon and then it's straight in the ground or cremated. It's a very quick turnover, where here it's not so much, is it? It takes a little while to sort it out. But
it does. Paperwork and fees. But on a lighter note,
I took
money.
I took Karina's funeral. She wasn't religious, so rather than have a vicar that she didn't know, or my brother who's a vicar, I took it. And tell you what, it was an incredibly cathartic experience. I'd recommend it to anybody to take a funeral of your life.
I'm doing my own funeral. I'm just going to film myself and put it on DVD. And they can put it on a big screen. Put it on a big screen. So they put the screen down. They say, "Hello, everyone. Welcome to my funeral." It'll be really weird for them, and it would really shake them up a bit. But I think it'd be great.
Well, as long as you don't do a guest appearance at the back and scare them at the same time. But then again, if you want to do the whole proof life after death, it's just like, where am I?
I'll be coming for you. you and you.
I've got a little book, love. I'm collecting names already. It's like I'm haunting you and you and you and definitely you.
I've already bought my Grim Reaper costume.
Have you?
No, I just made that up.
But no, I think more of a bad Santa, to be honest.
Thank you, dear. You say the nicest things.
I think you should wear a long velvet robe and your smoking hat, and you look more like Dumbledore than everybody would. Anybody would.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Put a wand in your hand and prod people with your wand.
The only reason I have the hat,
now we're getting into only puns.
it was V. McCrinnan gave me the hat.
Yeah, it's a good hat.
So I'm in bed now, so I'm not wearing the hat.
But wouldn't it be funny if you had somebody looking like Dumbledore with his stick coming up to you as a ghost saying, Expelliarmus?
I want that to preside over my funeral, let alone the ghost,
That would scare me to death.
As long as he's not using the death curse on you, you're fine.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, as I say, working, I mean, I know people who work in the police and all the rest of it. And, some of the experiences that people in the blue light services do have is...
Oh, yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It is. It's, crime scenes and accidents and stuff like that. Things do remain, especially when it's something tragic and something like that, and it's left an imprint. It's the reports. And I'm glad that there's now networks out there like, for UFOs and hauntings and stuff like that, where these, blue light workers, police officers, ambulance workers, firemen, there is a network nowadays where they can go and share their stories, and even in the army, share their stories and stuff like that, because once upon a time you weren't allowed to say anything, or it was very, very taboo. But now they do have these groups where they can actually go and share their experiences, because, some of these things can actually stick with you and be a bit traumatic, especially if you're at a traumatic scene as well. Then you experience something paranormal on top. It's just, what do you do with that? I mean, you get your on-site counselling, but what do you get from something paranormal?
Yeah. Jonathan and I know someone who works for a very old Victorian prison. And when he first went there, and he was walking the oldest part of the prison on the landing, this was after lockup, so all the prisoners are in bed, fast asleep. He said he heard footsteps behind him, walking up behind him, jangling keys. And when he turned round, there was nobody there. So he has an old jailer that walks the landing of this Victoria. Because he told me and you, Jonathan, didn't he? He absolutely shit himself. He said, but I'm supposed to be the brave one, locking up all the bad boys, He said, I went straight back to the hub, shut the doors, and made myself a cup of tea, started writing my reports. He said, I pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah, that sort of thing's more encouraging, though, because you've got someone who's done the job and they're looking out after you. So having a ghostly prison guard, especially when things kick off, would probably be a bit handy, to be honest with you. You got a little bit of backup on the go.
He got scared. He said, I just pretend I didn't hear anything. He said, and I just carried on as normal.
In Bideford Hospital, which is where I'm going on Friday, I used to live there years ago in the nurses' home, and the ghost of one of the 19th century nursing sisters would regularly come round and do her ward round.
No way.
He'd come round and just keep an eye to make sure that all the young living nurses were doing their job properly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I never saw
an actual conscious spirit, or she was just performing a task that would have gone on during life, sort of thing, as an imprint.
Yeah.
I like to think she was coming back, being a nosy old bag, making sure that the youngsters are doing their job properly.
And didn't have boys in their room.
Do you know, I I was at a place that was derelict, that was an old hospital. I won't go into where it is or why I was there or who I was with, but basically I stood on a floor.
That sounds sinister.
No, well, it was a long time ago, but I remember standing on the floor acting all big and brave because I had this super ear that magnified the audio. And we all stood in this area with this old lift that that wasn't working, obviously.
Yeah.
They had rooms going off, but I was standing on a part of the building where you had a wall that you could lean on and it was pretty safe, but round the corner the floor had gone, so there would have been a long corridor with rooms off of it, but the floor had gone. So I'm there with my super ear thinking, acting all cool, look at me, you know, I've got this brilliant piece of equipment. And I could hear the faint sound of footsteps coming down from this corridor. I'm like, shh, everybody, shh, be quiet, I can hear footsteps. They go, where they're coming from? And I went, round there. And I sort of leant round the corner where there's no floor, where the footsteps were coming from. And it was a lady, you could imagine a lady in heels.
Yeah.
And these footsteps are coming down this corridor with this floor that's no longer there. Right. And I was acting all big and all brave and realised that the footsteps were right on top of me, shit myself, ran down the stairs and ran out of the building.
I think you didn't run through the hole in the floor, otherwise that could have ended up badly.
Yeah, honestly, there was that whole floor had gone. There's no way anyone could walk on there, let alone make the sound. But they heard the footsteps with their own ears. I had it amplified with this super ear thing, but because they were so loud and right on top of me, it frightened me that I literally ran out the building. I couldn't be there because they came too close. So it's not always a great idea to have all this fangled equipment, you know.
No, it's not. A good friend of mine years ago, won't name the area, won't name the hospital, was renovating an old cottage hospital to turn it back into something for the community. And there've been lots of building problems, and it had been used during the First World War for shell shock and stuff like that. And worried with people breaking in and stuff like that because it had been a derelict building for so long. You get urbexes and stuff like that, don't you?
Yeah.
There was lots of stuff going on with the building anyway. It seemed to throw a few challenges up for being renovated, so to speak. You know, you start disturbing these buildings and stuff happens.
Yeah.
And so he put like an IP camera in there, basically just to keep, so he could keep an eye on the building of a night to make sure there was nothing, you know, kids not breaking in and stuff like that. Yeah. And he shared me the link once and he said, Abs, what do you hear? So you couldn't see anything. It was just this long corridor with like a little bit of infrared. You couldn't even see down the bottom of the corridor. And obviously there's doors like coming off to the side sort of thing. So I put my headphones on and I'm sitting there listening. I'm hearing voices. I'm hearing beds moving. I'm hearing walking. I'm hearing full-on conversations. So I ring him back and I'm like, what are you doing in there? Playing in audio? You know, are you taking the mic? Do you know what I mean? And he's like,
yeah.
He's like, you can hear it too. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like,
oh, it's brilliant.
Of a night on my own. I'm like, okay. Good luck with that.
I don't know why these security officers and guards and people that have to be in these kind of buildings on their own pull in a paranormal team. So you're not there on your own. Let them investigate. You know, why shut it off? I mean, if they've got insurance and they know that places, they can be unstable and they understand that, fine, let them in all day long, make a bit of money.
Once the renovations were done and it was opened again for the community, all activity ceased.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. But, yeah, I always remember listening to that. But I was going to say something then. Yep, that's gone. But no, oh yeah, my dad, he was a security guard. That's what I was going to say. My dad worked security guard back in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s. And he used to go around to a few places. And there was this one place where it was this derelict manor and it was a condemned building. It was due to be torn down. There was nothing they could do with it. So It wasn't listed or anything like that. I think it was like Victorian. And he used to have to go round it, and he used to hate going to this one stop, absolutely bloody hate it. And he thought he heard people in there one day, so he couldn't get into the doors, obviously, because it was all like bolted and locked with chains, boarded up. But he noticed that, like, you know, one of the windows into the basement, the board was missing, and it was like broken into, it was open. So he's like, okay, I've got to go through there. So he squeezes himself down this window, and he looks up, he's in the basement, and there's all these meat hooks hanging off the ceiling.
Oh,
I've
dear.
seen that before.
Which is nice and creepy. And anyway, he's up there by himself. I mean, this is like, you know, late 80s, early 90s. So let's face it, torch power isn't exactly great. So he's seeing about that far in front of you. And he's gone around the whole building, and he's up on this top landing. No one there. He's up on this top landing, and he's checked out the whole landing. There's no one there, and he's beginning to walk back. With that, every door on that floor starts to slam one by one.
Oh, yes.
Moving up to him. He said he has never run so fast in his life out that house, back into the room with the meat hooks, because that's the only way out. So he's thinking, I'm going to get shish kebabbed at this range. You know what I mean? They're just going to find me hanging there of a morning or something. I'm going to get attacked by this ghost. And I don't think he ever went back there. But there was this other time when he was there, and he went into one of the outbuildings, and he said he absolutely shit himself because he thought he saw a ghost. It wasn't. It was someone homeless sleeping in there. But he went up on the porch, and he just saw this face. And this was obviously after, because he never went in the house again. This was actually after the door slamming incident. So I always remember him telling me that, because I grew up with haunted experiences and stuff like that. Stuff used to happen in the house. So, you know, my parents used to talk about it. It wasn't something that was hushed about, because they didn't want me to be scared. So, you know, ghosts and stuff like that was very, very much openly spoken about. So yeah, that was one that he used to get. But I think, like, you know, people do security guards and stuff like that. I mean, at Plymouth Railway Station, they get loads of stuff. I spoke about Plymouth Railway Station last time, didn't I?
I can't remember.
Can't remember.
I don't think you did.
With the knock that scared the bejesus out of me. Down by Gourmet Rail. We weren't allowed. I mean, we investigated for about 7 years because the cleaners were getting stuff happen. The night staff were getting terrorized basically by all this paranormal activity. And it was down by the substation section, and you had the old corridor to the old Royal Mail building, because they were linked, and, you know, it used to come down and the mail used to go on the trains. And there was the cages there and everything. He used to get a lot of stuff happen by these massive substations. So, okay, I'm thinking, okay, EMF, you know, and all the rest of it, high electrical output, it's going to cause things happen in your brain, basically. We heard things being thrown in there. But there was these blue double doors, and they went into the old Gourmet Rail. And the first year we couldn't get in there because it goes up, and there's an old canteen from the 60s. And I'll tell you what happened there the year after. And I'm sitting there, and I've just interviewed Bloody Mary from New Orleans, Bloody Mary Voodoo Queen. She's saying, like, you know, I'll leave them a gift, leave them like an offering. Like, you know, she always cooks up for her ancestors and leaves them food. And I was like, okay, so what can I leave then to show my respect and, like, you know, to offer an offering to these spirits? She said water and honey. They're the two most purest things in existence. So, okay, so I left some water and honey. The rest of the team looked at me. He's like, well, you know, what are you doing, love? You know, what are you doing? And I said, no, just to say, I've just interviewed, like, Bloody Mary. And, you know, she said, like, you know, if you want the spirits to interact with you, leave them an offering. So as a mark of respect. So I was like, okay then. So I left it outside these blue double doors. Now we were hearing, and this is what the staff hear as well, and this is what they reported, things falling down, boxes, stock being like thrown here, there and everywhere, just behind these double doors, and they were locked because it was where all the drink and food and all the rest of it went for the trains, so to speak. So anyway, I've got my ear up against this door, and I'm like, there's got to be someone behind there. There's got to be another way into this place. There's got to be someone. They know we're here, you know, the ghost hunters are in, like, you know, let's piss about and all the rest of it. No other way in there. So I've got my ear right up against the door, and I slammed the door 3 times. I was like, "Oh, go on then. If you're there, knock back. Be careful."
And
Something went.
did you get it?
Thump. I played that clip on air, and I had to cut it short because the expletives that came out of my mouth. All I can say is I had to the loo after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we went in there the next day. There was nothing moved, and this is what they experience, you know. So the year after, we gained access. Calvin and that stayed, so we could gain access to that area. Nothing happened while the doors were there. Nothing happened while they were there. But we went into the old canteen area. Now that had been flooded recently, and they had, like, you know, these old crispy, like asbestos tile sort of things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when that dries out, you know, it's like
Crunch, crunch, crunch. Yeah.
anyone went down there, we would hear them. So we had the CCTV at the top of the stairs, and, like, you know, one of our CT didn't have sound on it, but we left a couple of Tels cams around, so, you know, we've got audio and visual. And we lock off that area and we go to the risk building, and we come back and I listen to the audio, and you can hear at least about 5 or 10 minutes of the canteen setting up. So you've got metal trays, you've got cupboards, you've got cutlery, you've got all the rest of it. No crunch, 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 crunch. So no one's been down there. No one's gone down the stairs, but you hear them literally setting up in the canteen. Now, part of that where that used to be was the old prison, one of the old Davenport prisons, and they used to hang people pretty much in that area where the substations and that was, and the long spooky corridor out by the bin section. And underneath the risk building was an old poorhouse, and it was the poorhouse graveyard. And the amount we used to get, I mean, that's where those photos of those shadow people that I showed you, that's where they come from, along the long corridor. You can see her holding a baby, and then she, like, turns, doesn't she? And she's got together. We've had things thrown up there. We've had a CCT camera plug explode just after the PAT test. So that all literally is up massively, because we're all there in the risk building. There's this mock house in there that you can go inside, and there's trains sticking out of half a tunnel, because this is where they do, like, all the health and safety and the go in there and stuff like that. And they've got like, you know, signal units in another room where people can practice doing the signals. Before, obviously, it was all automated. And we used to get stuff go on there all the time. So yeah, we were in the doing I think it was a Ouija board session or a glass session out in the main area in front of this house. Now behind all that is the house, and then you've got the creepy corridor. And as I say, we're sitting there and we're like, "Oh, come on, do something!" Bang! Literally scared so many of us. So many people screamed. I was like, "What was that?" I'm running around, looking around, going, "Nothing's moved. Nothing's moved." I go and look at the CCTV. The plug, the top of the plug, is on the other side of the room. And it was the only one blown. Hello. It was the only one blown on that row, because there was like a row of 4, like on a plug board. It was the only one that was blown. So there was that. We had 20p thrown at us. We've had so many EVPs of children and all the rest of it. And
I must admit, that video that you showed me of the shadow person walking past, there was actually 2. There was one and then another. It was the best footage of a shadow person or people I have ever seen.
That was the girls who were camping. I think that was Jenna and someone else. No, I showed you the photo of the woman and the child, and she
yeah. Absolutely amazing.
To me, can I see them?
No.
Yeah, I'll send them to you.
Thank you, Abby. Shut up, Vivian.
It's absolutely amazing, though. In all seriousness, it will blow your socks off. It's quite compelling. You can't refute it at all. Yeah.
You can see that Liz has joined us.
Yes. I'm just going to be back in
a minute. Okay.
Too many cups.
No worries.
Do you realise we've nearly done an hour and a half? It seems we've gone in.
Already?
Yeah, we've done an hour and 20 minutes. By the way, while we're here, good evening, Simon. Good evening, Dave. Good evening, everybody who I have missed.
And Nico?
I've already said good evening to Nico. I was being rude to Nico earlier.
You got to say it like this. All right, me old treacle. He thinks he's hard. Have you seen his new picture of him? He's got a gun like this, like thinking he's well hard.
No, I haven't. Good evening.
He's not hard at all.
Dear boy. No, and here's the lovely Abigail. She's back.
I'm back.
She's back again.
Left my cup of tea. Oops.
Oh no.
Good job I got a towel there ready, because I had it rested on a towel just in case I did that. Plan in advance. But you
out
do.
of all the places, I want to ask you, out of all the places you've been to, and you've been to quite a few, what is the one place you enjoyed the most, and why?
Oh, I mean, I love Plymouth Railway Station. Don't get me wrong. I love that place. I miss it since they've been doing the renovations. We haven't been able to get back in, although I hear that it's getting a bit spicy with renovations going on. I'd have to say probably Pengersic Castle down in Cornwall in Par Sands. Now, the property dates back to the Bronze Age. There's Bronze Age settlements and stuff like that there. And there was the old Tudor manor, and then there was what they destroyed that manor and then built another one. And all that's left is the tower, basically. Now, I went there, oh, God, nearly 20 years ago now. And I actually dreamt about the place before I went. And I dreamt that I was a bit disappointed because it was just a tower and it was advertised as a castle. And that there was a healing woman in the woods that lived like in this like roundhouse sort of thing. And there was a girl that fell off the tower. And, you know, that was my dream, basically. Went there a couple of months later in the summer, and it was run by a man called Ian Addercote and Haunted Cornwall and PRO, the Paranormal Research Organisation, who I did join for a bit. And and I used to help him out at the castle as well in the summers and help run the nights and stuff there. And there was this lady there called Angela, and she used to own the castle, and she used to, like, you know, stay in the kitchen and all the rest of it until, bless her, she got too poorly, and she eventually passed, bless her, many years later. But the experiences that I've had at Pengersic Castle is just mind blowing. I mean, the first time we went there, I was up in the woods, and there was a plague pit there. And I didn't know that, because they don't tell us what spirits are there. They just say, like, you know, this is this area in the woods. And there is a plague doctor up there that they affectionately refer to as Beaky, because obviously he has the plague doctor's mask. Now, he's a bit territorial, is Beaky. And he used to love to, and probably would still to this day if I went up there, jump in front of me as a big dark shadow. And then...
Ooh.
So, you know, you're looking around, and all of a sudden you get this jet black there, and it just like goes sort of thing, like jumps out. So he used to love doing that. There was an old woman in a hut which was known as the Healing Hut. So there was that there, and there was the old manor. Now, the first time we went, it's back in 2006, I believe. And I went down with my mom and my ex-partner John at the time. And it'd been like a up and down, like a bit of a slow night, a bit of like a few things had happened, and everybody else had gone home, and John had gone to sleep in the car because he was going to have to drive us back literally from the bottom end of Cornwall near Penzance all the way back to Devon. So it's quite a drive after being up all night. I mean, these were the days where you used to investigate all night and not finish at 2 or 3 you do nowadays.
Yeah.
Too old for that. And Ian's packing everything away. All the other guests are gone, and it's just me, one of the other people who was running it called Will, and my mom. And we were up in the solar room, and Will's in there, and he's antagonising a little bit because nothing's really happened in the night. And I'm looking around, and there's all these swords on the wall and lances and all the rest of it. And I'm just like, take it easy, dude, because again, shish kebabbed.
Yes, yeah.
It's not the kind of holy you're after, really, when you got all those weapons on the go. Anyway, with that, we're having a laugh and a joke. With that, we hear the front door of the castle open and close. Someone going do, 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 up the stone spiral steps, stop outside the solar room for a second, and then carry on and go to the bedroom upstairs, which at the time was known as the most haunted room in England. Meant to be a bit black dog with eyes, and there wasn't. And even Ian hated that story. Someone came out with it once and it stuck, basically. Yeah. And anyway, it sounded like they were moving furniture upstairs. So you could hear and there was a big ornate 4-poster Tudor bed in there. There was, and it sounded like someone was moving stuff around in there. So Ian got on the walkie-talkie to Ian and said, "Oh, Ian, are you in the castle, mate? Are you gone upstairs to sort stuff out?" And he's like, "No, I'm in the resource building," which was a barn across the lawn where that used to be the base room. And he was packing away all the chairs. And anyway, Will didn't believe him. He was like, "Nah, mate, go outside. I want, walk out the resource building because you can see it from where we were at the window." He was not in that castle. So it was that incident. Couple of years, I mean, there was so much used to go on there. A couple of years later, we were on break, and I was helping run a night. And my friends, Mark and Steph, they came down from the Midlands, and they come down with me to go to Pengursic. They've been with me a couple of times. The activity there was always off the charts. I've never known a place so consistently active, apart from Plymouth Railway Station, to have that kind of level of activity that happens very, very regularly. So we're all on a break, and me and Mark are looking up at the tower. And Will and Becky, they say they saw a UFO, basically. We missed it. But what we saw was this spinning white ball of light on top of the tower that just span and span and span, and then went over the battlements, fell down the tower, and disappeared halfway down.
Oh.
Now, if you don't know the story of Pengursic Castle, there was a young girl, a young child, and she was dancing on the rooftop and spinning around, and the wind caught her dress and she went over the battlements and she died. So that was her. And if you're ever on the rooftops and you start swaying or you start dancing, you have to get off straight away. You have to literally go downstairs because you are being influenced by her. So, and they've had a couple of near misses at times where people have got a little bit too close to the edge, sort of thing. But there was that one, and that was weird. And then another time we were there, I was there with Adrian and Rob and John. And Adrian and Rob, I knew they'd been on different investigations. They've been to Kent's Cabin with us and all the rest of it. And we were in the woods, and we were by the old manor, and what is known as the slaughter stone or the sacrificial stone. It wasn't. It was a standing stone, but it had fallen, and it had just been nicknamed that. And we're in the woods, and I look at Adrian. Adrian looks at me, and the atmosphere just changes. It was almost like we were led to that specific spot because we were just randomly going around the woods. And all of a sudden, all the rooks just started circling us. They came out the trees, and it was like a scene from The Birds. You could hear them circling us. And what sounded like we were charged, so like heavy hoof prints, like do 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 do. Now Adrian, he was a big lad, and I don't know who jumped into whose arms, whether I jumped into his or he jumped into mine. So he was this big stocky lad, and he was with his partner Rob, and we were just scared, and we were like, we can't actually get out of here. We feel like we're being surrounded. We feel like we're being cornered in. The animals are going mad, and we've just been charged by this invisible horse. So we can't go back the way we've came. And so we kind of like, okay, we can't stay here. We've got to leg it. So we walked down this path behind the slaughter stone, behind where the hedges are that marked out the old manor. and I've got my torch shined on the floor. It's only like a tiny little like narrow pathway of mud. Now, because I could trip over a shadow, and I mean, Ian and Will used to laugh when they used to go to, you know, send me ahead in the woods to make sure there was no one there, and you just hear me go, ah, splat, and then I'm all right, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It was a regular occurrence. So I had my torch like, you know, pointed on the floor, and we run and we go and get Ian and Will, and we take them back up the exact same little path from the resource centre across the lawn where the old monks' monastery used to be, in the Tudor Knot garden, where you do see a monk. And I'm not going to give you his description because it is even though it's probably out there now, it's a well-guarded secret. He doesn't look like an actual traditional monk. So when people see him and describe him in a certain way, we know there's been an actual genuine sighting. Yeah. Past that, and we go up this little path again. Again, I've got my torch on the floor so I don't fall over. And we go back to the area, and it's as quiet as the grave. There's no birds. The atmosphere's gone. It feels calm. And we're trying to say, no, this has just happened. This has literally just happened a couple of minutes ago. We've all come like charging out the woods, like sort of thing. And they were like, oh, I don't know what to tell you. There's nothing there. And I'm like, no, there's something still here. I can feel it. I'm like, oh, no. So it's like the end of the night. Again, everybody's gone home. We're the last ones there. Like, you know, just as the sun's coming up, you know, transition time. You used to get a lot of stuff during that time. Yes. I do miss investigating all night because it was just like between the hours of 12 and like 4. As soon as you start transitioning to dawn, that's when it starts kicking off again.
Yeah.
Anyway, we go back down this little path again, this little now wood track, and there is this ornate, carved, spoked back of a chair, arced over the pathway.
Oh, wow.
Random wood. Seriously. It wasn't there a couple of minutes before when we walked or when we walked back. And, you know, I've got my torch on the floor because I'm a hazard. I am literally a walking health hazard. I will fall over and break something. And it was just there. And Ian couldn't explain it. Will couldn't explain it. We were the only ones on site at this point.
Yeah.
And where did this random bit of wood come from? He went to check later on after everybody had left. Gone.
Oh, that is some weird stuff.
Hence why random wood.
Yeah.
But yeah, it still can't be explained to this day. But they, you know, they photographed it and everything. So, you know, to prove it was there. But it was just like, you know, when something's spiral carved like that, and it's like the back of a chair sort of thing. Yes. So not the legs, but, you know, as it arcs sort of thing, and then you got the bit, and it was a tall wooden oak chair sort of thing, and it was just the one spoke. It's weird.
That's crazy.
So
well, we've come to the end of our. Well, we've been going for an hour and a half. We've come to the end of the show. Yeah.
How did that happen, Vivian?
I don't know. I've been enjoying the story, the stories and the spookiness. We've got to get Abi back on sooner rather than later, because we need to continue this conversation. It's just too good.
I'll be more awake this time though, because you're like, you're free. Yeah. Yeah.
But we'll be back. We'll be back next week. I don't know. We have got a guest. Hang on.
Yes, I just can't remember who they are.
I can't either. Honestly, I've slept since they went in the diary. I'm terrible with the diary. I'll tell you who it is. Hang on 1 second. We have... No, we haven't got a guest. Abi, come on next week if you want.
I'm booked with
Andy. Busy. But we will find someone.
We'll find something. We'll always do. And come back as soon as you can, Abi.
Yes, we'll get you booked in, definitely.
I'm going to send you some audio to play out. So some of these things that we've caught over the years, I'd love to let your listeners listen to some of this stuff and some of the photographs.
Yeah, they'd love it.
Yes,
I'm not an orb girl. I'm not an orb, unless you see it with the naked eye. I'm not an orb girl, I must admit. But yeah, we've seen some strange stuff over the years.
Nico wants Keith Harris and Orville. I'd rather have Rod Hull and Emu. At least they were funnier.
Did you ever know David Farrand?
No.
Yes.
Didn't he look like Rod Hull? I always thought that. Ever since the first time I met him, I thought he looked like Rod Hull.
I'll tell you something about him up when we come off there. But anyway, guys, we got to go. I'm going to play us out with... I'm going to try and play us out. I don't know how to work this anymore.
Oh, well, thank you for having us be on again, guys, and definitely look forward to coming back.
Yes, no, definitely.
Abby, my darling.
Yes, definitely.
And get you raving.
Yes. Right, so I'm playing an outro, and we will speak to you next week. Take care, everyone, from wherever you're watching, and look after yourself.
Time to go home, time to go home from your simply spooky adrenaline ride. Time to go home, time to go home, even if you're terrified. Goodbye. Time to go home, time to go home. Vivian and her weird friends are all going home. Time to go home, time to go home. Vivian is waving goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.